Hi everyone, David here from daviddumaisaudio.com, and in this video I'll be showing you guys two of my most used plugins for sound design and how I use them. So let's jump into the project and we'll get going. All right, so the first plugin I probably use the most is S-Layer by Twisted Tools. And S-Layer basically is a layering tool, which of course for sound design is the like one of the most fundamental things you can do as a sound designer is layering. So so this is S-Layer. How it works is you import your own samples down here by clicking the edit button up here. Import your own samples up to 127. Actually, you can actually do more than 127, but it'll only choose from 127 samples. So once you have those loaded, then what I like to do is I go here to this middle section here, and I set my settings here. So here we have samples, so you can choose from 0 to, I usually go up to 127. So now it's going to choose 8 different layers, so 8 different samples between 0 and 127. So this layer here is 13. This one here is this one here is 106. This one here is 15. This one here is 48. This one's 114. And then it's going to play all of them at the same time. But there's obviously there's a lot more settings here. So you can choose like the start, like where in the sample it's going to start. You can choose delay, like how long to wait before it starts playing the sample. Here you have your pitch. So is it going to pitch it up or down? Here you have your pan. Is it going to pan it right or left? And here you have your volume of the sample. And what I like to do is randomize like all of these. So if you click on these orange buttons here, it's going to randomize all of these parameters. As you can see here, I'm clicking. So if I was just clicking, it'll randomize. But when you click orange, what it'll do is you can click this random button up here, and it's going to randomize all of them for you. And that's basically it. This is a quick, short overview of how the plugin works. Of course, there's effects, and you can play with the envelope and other effects here. So, but yeah, like in general, this is how I use it. So, so as you can see here, I have some monster sounds right now loaded up. So if I click on I can quickly get some layers, get some ideas, and play with sounds that I come up with just by randomizing the samples and the layers here. So I like to use S-Layer for almost anything. Like there's a few things, like delicate things that for sound design that I won't use it. For example, like foley. I don't know that it would work too well with this. Things like footstep or like clothing movements sounds, or ambiances, like natural nature ambiances might not work so well. It depends, but I've never actually tried that. But some delicate stuff like that, I don't use S-Layer for, but pretty much anything else. So, for example, I have like monster sounds. I have explosion sounds. I've done UI sounds down here. I've done, sword sounds, a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll save them all as presets so I can recall them anytime. So gun sounds, pretty much anything. Any other sound that you can think of, you can do in here. It's just, foley and natural sounds I usually don't do too much in here. But apart from that, anything in here, and you can put it in here and create some really cool sounds, and you'll be really surprised with what you come up with. Of course, not everything's going to be perfect. Usually, ratio of what I actually might use to what I might actually play through is maybe 80 to 20. So 80% of what I actually play through. So like when I click this randomize button and I listen to sounds, maybe 70 to 80% of whatever it plays I won't actually use, and I'll only use 20 to 30%. But even then, like what you do get usually is something that's very usable and that can easily make into a final sound of a project. So that's how I use it. And of course, I always have my audio track down here, so I can just record and then play on my keyboard and print out my sounds down here. And that's how I like to use it. And then I can just take that and put it as a layer to sound somewhere. Another thing I'll say for this plugin that I really like about it is you have 8 different scenes here. So you can have 8 different kinds of presets with 8 different effect presets and layer presets and everything. And then also you have a transpose button. And what this transpose button does is instead of having you're able to play on your keyboard across the keyboard. So when you press the transpose button, the original pitch of the file is at C, as at C3. So that is the original pitch of the file. But what I can do is I can play up the keyboard to C4, and then it's going to play everything up an octave. So it's going to be faster or even higher. Or then I can also go the other way, which is lower. Right? And as I do this, I can come up with a whole bunch of variations on a sound. So a sound that I'm creating might not sound very well in its original pitch, but you pitch it up or you pitch it down an octave, and suddenly it sounds great. So I really like that I have that flexibility to do that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. This is how I use it and how I use S-Layer for my work. Now, the next plugin I'll load here. It's also a reactor ensemble, just like S-Layer. And that is Whoosh by Tumstorm. All right, so this is Whoosh by Tumstorm, the company called Tumstorm. And what it does is exactly what the name is. It does whooshes, and it does them very well. So if I play, this is just one of the presets that comes with the plugin when you get it. So there's a few things to look at here. So one, this is the engine where it whooshes. And down here, you have all your samples, all your sounds and where they're housed. So you have 4 sources that you can blend between. And then you have your impacts. Usually I leave this out. I don't usually use impacts because I like to use whooshes for actual whooshes, not whoosh hits or whoosh bangs or whoosh impacts, whatever you want to call them. So I usually mute the impacts because I don't want any impacts for my whooshes. And then I can always blend them in later depending on what the sound it is that I'm making. So yeah, so once I have that, I can go here. You can use user samples here, and depending on the version that you have. So this is 1.5. I think version 1.1 or something like that. Anyway, one of the versions, you can actually like edit, like click the edit button like I was showing in S-Layer and import your 127 samples. So yeah, so you have a lot more samples to choose from. Here you have 4 user banks that you can choose from, and then you can have 12 samples for each user bank. So it's 4 times 12. But yeah, so that's it for your samples. But that's still a good amount, and that's enough to make some good whoosh sound. So yeah, so one of the so like I said, so yeah, so this is your samples. This is your engine up here, and yeah, so one way I use it obviously is just making whoosh. You just make your whoosh sound. Another way I like to use it is manually. So you can click this manual button. So up here on the sync, you click MIDI or host, and then you can click on manual. So you click MIDI manual. And then now you can use it, or you can control it with your mod wheel. So right now it's attached to my mod wheel, so I can just move my mod wheel as fast or as slow as I want to create the sound I want. So this is one way to use it. This one way I like to use it is manually. I like to use it manually for a few things. One is that because you're using it's using a granular engine like this, depending on what you put in here, you can put some weird stuff and just hold it like, you can hold the engine like right in the middle here, and it'll play through certain sounds and it'll sound really interesting. So let's say I was doing that, something like this. Well, then now what I can do is I can go in and add some inserts. So maybe I want to do, like add some distortion or something. Or maybe I want to add something completely different. Or maybe I just want to be surprised. Right, so I'm able to go and create these textures just by putting in effects. I mean, that was not exactly the best examples, but you can see how you can create these kind of weird textures or weird sounds, and then you can kind of manipulate those, chop them up, and create other sound effects using those textures. So, all right, a second or third way I like to use it is by soloing layers. So if I do this, I can play through a layer, and this is similar to the previous way I was showing this. So you can have this same idea. and you can have multiple layers playing at the same time. So it's similar to just holding the engine at a particular place, but it's less granular when you're doing it this way, I think. Right, so yeah, that's another way you can use it. Another way, a final way that I like to use it is to create impacts or some sort of impacts or hits or something like that. So the way you can do that is using the sim here. I think this is for symmetry. And so I'm just going to bring it back to just run and this way. So if you do it all the way down to the left, let's do all the way down. What it does is it cuts this half of the engine, it makes it really short, so it goes really fast here, and then it makes this half long. So it'll zoom past here, and that's where you get the hit or an impact or a click or something here, and then you get the tail of the sound. So let's try that again. So you can get some really quick whooshes just by playing a bit with a shape here. Got a bit of sub. So it's a little clicky, but you get the idea. You can get some impacts here. This is not the best sample to do it, but you can get some pretty good impact sounds depending on what you place here. So yeah, this is another way I like to use it. So these are probably the two most used tools that I use when I'm creating sound design or just trying to get out ideas or layers. So yeah, anyways, I think that's it for this video. I hope you guys found that useful and valuable. Let me know what you guys use as your most used tools for creating sound design. So be really interested to know. That's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.